and welcome to everybody, and welcome to Everyday Hedgewitchery. I've got to get my mind thinking. I've just heard something in the background there. I am Tudorbeth, and I will be presenting today, which includes, I'm going to do a spell or two, and I'm going to do followed by a 10-minute question and answer, which you can ask me absolutely anything and everything. I don't mind. I've been a teacher for almost quarter of a century, so I've had a fair amount of weird and wonderful questions from young and old alike. Now then, on with the presentation. Now, if anyone has a Llewellyn calendar, a journal or a diary, you will know that tomorrow is the summer solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere. And for family and friends over in Australia and New Zealand, it is the winter solstice. So happy midwinter for the other side of the world. But what that means for us here today is that now this day is Midsummer's Eve. Yeah! And this is an incredible magical day for us. I will point out that I am actually looking at my notes because I forget everything, and I think other fellow practitioners are the same, is that we've got so much going on in our heads and we have so much energy and things. We have lots of things going on all the time, so you'll have to excuse me if I'm looking at my notes. Now, this day is an incredible magical day for us. In fact, it is one of the most enchanting days, especially for a hedge witch, as hedge witchery is that part of the craft which actually acknowledges those elemental energies that many would not necessarily accept. We adhere to that world beyond the borders more than any other within witchcraft. And although it is an incredibly spiritual and solitary path the hedge witch walks, it is actually a very practical one. And I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. They're just all over the place because I knew it was going to happen. And we embrace that elemental and spiritual aspect into our everyday practical lives through the intricate workings of the correspondences, which are the very alphabet of witchcraft. And we embrace them through our daily lives of jobs, of families, or interacting with friends. That yearning and that pull towards the elemental border or hedge is always with us. Okay, it's incredibly powerful and incredibly spiritual. In many ways, it is very similar to the psyche and soma, the body and the mind. It is the spiritual and the practical. And for us, the spiritual manifests itself in the practical through the correspondences. But in many ways, the correspondences themselves are also symbolic of the hedge that we travel. So the correspondences are not just the practical, such as colour, crystal, oil, flower, month, day, and so on, and herb especially, but they also represent the spiritual, the elemental, the hedge, the border itself. So let's take just one part of those correspondences, and we're going to weave it through the others. Because today is Midsummer's Eve, we're going to do a spell as part of this evening's ritual. It's just 5 o'clock in the afternoon for me, so it's not quite ready to go outside, of which we've had lots of thunderstorms, I hasten to add. So if it starts like crackling and thunder and lightning, hey, it's midsummer. I knew it was all going to kick off. Okay, now on my Instagram page, somebody contacted me and said, how do you make moon salt? Well, I always thought that was kind of basic, but I understand that we're all coming from different traditions. So I'm going to go through this, okay? And I do apologize if I'm coming across a bit teachery, but then again, I am a teacher. Right. Now, one of the most primary resources we have is salt. Salt is the embodiment of every element within this world. Let me explain further. Salt comes from the earth. I can use this. And for this spell, I'm going to use a combination of Himalayan pink salt. I don't know if you can actually see the color there, but it's Himalayan pink salt, which of course comes from the Himalayas, which is a mountain range, which is earth. Okay. I'm also going to use some sea salt. There it is, some sea salt, which of course is from the sea, which is water. Now, both of these are dried within the air. And if you take a piece of, I've got it in the bowl here. If you take a piece of salt and put it on your tongue, it burns. It is fire. Okay? So salt, therefore, is earth, water, dried in the air, and fire upon the tongue. However, it is also spirit. For too much of it, too much of salt can kill, as we know. However, too little of it is also detrimental to life. Therefore, with salt comes balance, awareness, spirit. Now, with my spell, so with my Himalayan sea salt, I'm going to put them in the bowl. Some in the bowl. I'm doing it now, as you can see. And I'm going to put some of my sea salt in the bowl. There we are. I'll put them over there. Shake it up a bit. Nice. I don't know if you can actually see that, but there they are. It's in there. Some of it you can see. So I want the magic of Midsummer's Eve, and in particular the elemental energies, to grace this salt. So I will be leaving this outside, and in particular the elemental energies are going to bless this salt on this Midsummer's Eve. Now, Midsummer's Eve represents fun, frivolity, light, magic, and innocence. So when I use this Midsummer's Eve salt in cooking, in ritual, in spells, in healing, in any beauty products, it will have that extra kick of magic from those elemental energies that exist tonight. this evening. In abundance, I hasten to add. So if you've been experiencing some strange things in your house today, like lights going on and off, cupboards and doors kind of opening on their own, things going missing, appearing in strange places, in particular losing your keys, mirrors looking strange as well. When I say that sometimes they can kind of shake, and there's nothing that's gone past on the road or anything, and you don't know why they've shook or anything. It's one of those days where there's a lot of energy in the air, and a lot of that elemental energy in the air as well. Okay, so it's one of those days. It's in abundance. People think it's just at Halloween. No, it isn't. This is one of the trickster type of ones, as I like to call it. They're very playful, our elementals. So here it is in here. So the spell I'm going to say this evening when I'm out in the garden, at my garden altar, is earth, water, air, and fire. Bless this salt with your power. Energies of elemental sight. Blessings to you this magical night. I'm going to leave this. You can leave it on a window ledge for a couple of hours this evening if you're going to make some. If you're fortunate to have a garden, leave it out in your garden, preferably if it's not going to rain, thunder, hail, lightning, sleet, or snow, as we've been having. And in your garden for a couple of hours to allow that energy to manifest in this salt that you can then use. Okay. In addition, you can also make Midsummer's Eve sugar, which is also the embodiment of those things this evening, such as fun, frivolity, magic, innocence, etc. And you say the spell over the sugar. And you would add the sugar in it. For example, bless this sugar and salt with your power if you want to use the spell, and both of them. Now, in addition with salt and sugar, I also want to bring in some other correspondences. And I'm going to bring in the energy of lavender and rose. I got the lavender here because right next to me, because it's very calming, and I just knew I'd need it today. So the energy in the lavender of energy of lavender and rose. So I'm going to weave in my salt the power of lavender, and I do actually. I've got some lavender here, and I'm going to put it in. I'm going to crush it first and put it in. Now, when you've made your Midsummer's Eve salt, you can just put it in a jar and leave it with the lavender in it. I think that lavender salt is really quite nice, and especially to do some cooking. Now, some people, I mean, I do in my books, they use it in the sugar because you can use it in either. But there's something about lavender that there you go. You can see I've just mixed it in with it, and when it goes into a jar, it's already started to make a lovely smell with that salt, and you can use that salt in your cooking, and it's got those energies in it, this Midsummer's Eve salt that's now been blessed with the energy of lavender and the power of lavender as well, which is great. I like weaving. It's all about weaving. And with the sugar, I don't know if you can see, but I've got the rose petals in there, and it smells delish. I must admit, it smells really, I could just eat that actually. It smells quite delicious. Now, when you cook with these, and you can cook with them, with the sugar. Each of these correspondences that we're using bring their own specific energy and to our primary resource of the salt or the sugar. And this is the crafting, this is the weaving of magic, of hedge witchery. It's not called witchcraft for, you know, it's called witchcraft for a reason, you know, at the end of the day. So I like to put the lavender in the salt, as lavender doesn't taste, it doesn't taste, I'm going to eat it, oh, you can eat lavender. It doesn't taste the way it smells. Incidentally, if you make popcorn and you just sprinkle a bit of lavender salt on your popcorn, it's really yummy. I'm terrible. Similarly, the rose petal sugar, if you sprinkle a bit of sugar on your popcorn, really nice. And it's bringing that energy. It's all about energy, bringing it all in, all magical stuff, bringing it in all the time. And when you cook with lavender, when you eat lavender, like I say, it doesn't taste the way it smells. Rose petals do. They taste the way they smell. But lavender brings a lovely warmth to the food in cooking. For example, if you put a bit of the lavender salt in your water when you're boiling and cooking asparagus or any vegetables like that, it just makes the asparagus taste stronger, and it has a distinct taste to it. It's really nice and it really impresses people. But what you've actually done, you've put so much energy into this, and you've got the energy of Midsummer's Eve that you can embrace all that magic, and you're giving it, say, as a present to somebody or as a gift, and you've made that meal, that energy, you're giving it to them. It's also very good for healing, this kind of stuff. If somebody's been a bit down and they've lost their innocence, which this past year a lot of people have been suffering a lot with, it's nice to create something in the practical, which at the same time is incredibly spiritual, but you're giving them that energy in your food or in whatever you've made. So, and going back to the rose petal sugar, this is delicious when you use it in cupcakes. Once again, if somebody's been down and upset or just had a really bad time, making them cupcakes or cookies, and in particular shortbread cookies go really well with rose petal sugar. You make that with flour, butter and sugar, and perhaps you can put some raisins in there as well, and you can save this and use this up until midwinter. So you've got all that energy, or in a cold grey day in the winter, and you're making some lovely using some Midsummer's Eve sugar, all that energy and all that light from today, you can feel it in the food and in the tasting, and you can bring yourself back into it. And I'm just aware of the time as well. I'm just scooting through all the way through. And also you can put raisins, cranberries or anything in there as well when you're making your shortbread cookies, if you want to. I know I'm just aware of the time. So I hope that kind of brings it awareness of it, of correspondences, and how everything in this world is a giant pantry to use, and it's entirely up to you how you use it. There's lots of different ways to harness and weave that spiritual into the practical, into everyday life. And everyday hedge witchery. Hedge witchery is also about the hedge, that spiritual part, that borderline, that other world that many of us like to go to occasionally. But whatever you use, and however you use this world as a pantry, always remember the energy of that particular correspondence, whether it goes into cooking or spells or rituals or life, that as everything is connected and we are part of everything, and we are all connected in this earth. I hope that helps. I have put a little bit more down there, but I'm just aware of the time. I did want to say a little bit about the practical also of hedge witchery, and in particular foraging, meaning if you're going to go out into the countryside and you're going to pick up plants or anything at all, just remember the 3 R's, which is respect, responsibility, and recycle. We recycle everything. I don't know if you've noticed, but I have like strange jars and things. That was originally held a candle, but we use it for absolutely anything and everything. There, I think that's it, because I'm really aware of the time, Anna. Okay, so I think we're going to go into some questions and answers now, and I hope that was okay. I need to click this. And there's a little bit of a delay, been told. Ah, it's come nice and big. You're welcome, Carla. Lovely, blessed be. Blessed be as well, Stephanie. Oh, I'm glad you learned tons, Laura. That's good. Oh, you see, teacher. Always got to teach you something. And I do work a lot. Oh, thank you, Patty. Oh, thank you. I was going to say that salt is amazing. There's so many different varieties of salt, and it's from all over the world. Your different part of your world will probably have. You've piqued my interest. Okay, great. Fresh or dry? These are actually fresh rose petals. I picked them this morning. They're fresh. Don't worry about them being fresh in your sugar, because they will dry out. And as they dry out, they will get more of that lovely smell in the sugar. So you will get that taste and everything. And the same with the salt and the lavender. That draws out the moisture of the salt, draws out the moisture from the flowers, whatever flower you use. Peony salt is another one that's really, really nice. I do cook with peonies quite a bit, actually, and bring that energy, because once again, they're unique, they're fresh. We have Himalayan salt here in the States, actually, and sea salt. I have mine ready for this evening. Yay! Great one, Patty. Wonderful. Hello. What are your other favorite ways to celebrate Midsummer's Eve? I do a ritual. I usually have lots of friends and family and those kind of things. But unfortunately, we've had that thing called COVID in the UK, and we haven't actually come out of lockdown yet. So being protective towards friends and family. But then again, I am a solitary practitioner. I'll be doing my own little thing with those darling little elemental energies around this evening. I believe it's a waxing crescent of the moon, so it's not quite a full moon, but that's okay. That's okay. I have salt but no lavender. This is from Anne. I have salt but no lavender, and I have roses but no sugar. Time to shop. I have salt but no lavender. Fine, make rose salt. I have roses but no sugar. Fine, but you can. Everything is transferable. That's the wonder of the world and of hedge witchery. Everything is transferable. It doesn't make any difference. The rose petals in the salt will give the salt a really nice flavor as well. So don't worry about that. I'm putting out a jar of water to solar charge it. Yes, yeah, that's what I'll be doing tomorrow for the solstice itself, for the longest day of the year. Yeah. Natalie asks, do I have a website? I do, but it's under transformation as usual. But I am on Instagram. I'm Tudorbeth7 on Instagram, and I'm also on Twitter, Tudorbeth. Tudorbeth at twitter.com. There you go. That was inventive of me, wasn't it? I was going to say a little bit more. Oh, it's this. I'm putting. Yeah. So yeah, my other ways to favorite ways to celebrate Midsummer is a meal, is a ritual. Depending on the weather here in England, you know, would lilac be? I think that's probably be safe to use for would be okay for the salt. Yes, if it's dried first, is that bad? No, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference. It's not quite like herbs in cooking, where people will say, oh, you've only got to have fresh herbs, or you've only got to have dry herbs. No, flowers are fine. Flowers are fine. Lilac is lovely. So is honeysuckle. Honeysuckle sugar. Ooh, really, really flavoursome. Are you on Facebook? No, I'm not on Facebook. Your book explains your favourite correspondences. Yes, it does. I've got one book out now, the Little Book of Hedgewitchery. Yeah, using the salts in the bath would be nice. Yes, when I made reference to the beauty products, absolutely, it's amazing. I mean, lavender salts, especially made with Himalayan sea salt as well. And there's also Epsom salts as well, which you can use, and they draw out the toxins. And if you don't have a bath, there's not many people that have baths these days. I use it as a salt, a foot soak as well. So you're still getting that energy, but you just put you soak your feet in a bowl of water. That's really good as well. Twitter.com Tudorbeth or at Tudorbeth, Yeah, Tudorbeth at Tudorbeth. I know. Foot baths do definitely work. I'm all for foot baths. Absolutely. When you've had a long day at work, in the classroom and things, and you just, oh, where's the lavender salt, or where's the lavender itself? I mean, just to pick the lavender and put that in if you haven't got any. Although everybody should have salt. If you're a practitioner, you're going to have salt. There's two things I was always taught: never have the kitchen without any salt or honey. I've always got honey in the cupboard as well. Are store-bought flowers and herbs okay to use? Yeah, sure, absolutely. There's still the energy. You don't have to go foraging out in the countryside to find stuff. Absolutely not. You don't have to have a garden to be a hedge witch. You don't have to, you can be a hedge witch in the city. I was a hedge witch in London. It was hell, but I was able to do it. There's plenty of parks. There's lots of nice walks along the embankment and in the river to walk along. So yeah, I keep honey on hand too, always. I know, it's so good, isn't it? It should be. I know you can use it in the medicine cabinet, but you can also use it, for absolutely everything. It's great stuff, and you can actually put that in a foot spa as well. That's really quite nice. What other ways to incorporate hedge witchcraft into your daily life? That's from Ninika. I'm not wearing my glasses. I do apologize if I've said your name wrong. What other ways to incorporate hedge witchcraft? It's the spirituality. It's the awareness of elemental energies. It is bringing in all of the correspondences that you are aware of and you are a part of. You are aware throughout your daily life of the other world and of ancestors and of everything spiritual. You're a part of it as well. This is full. Oh, yeah. Be careful of store-bought roses, Rachel says. Good. Is full of pesticides, etc. Yeah, yeah, you do have to be aware. I do wash the flowers, by the way. Leave them on a dry on a piece of kitchen towel just to dry before you use them in your spells. Okay. Oh, unfortunately, it's about time to wrap up. Perhaps one more question from anyone? Thank you so much. You have beautiful energy. Thank you. Thank you very much, Maggie. I don't know what else. I was going to say something else about salt. Do I have any more time, Anna? Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay. I just wanted to say something else about salt because it's so important. It is one of our primary resources that can be used for so many different things, and you can get it anywhere, and it comes in many different forms. I know I talked about the fire on the tongue, but you can also get, this is Hawaiian black salt, and it is amazing as well. So what I'm saying is that the earth is a giant pantry, and we just have to behave ourselves, act responsibly, harvest responsibly, and it's there for us. We're all a part of it. Happy Midsummer. Happy Midsummer's Eve. Enjoy those fairies. Don't invite them inside the house because they can be really pesky. Am I on Facebook? No, sorry, Robin, I'm not on Facebook. Thank you. You're welcome. And I think that's about it. So happy midwinter for all my friends and family in Australia and New Zealand. And happy Litha. Yes, happy Litha. Solstice blessings to you all.